Hello, John. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm having a beautiful
I'm
day. And
doing
you?
quite fine, my man, and thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. And you see, John, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, I want to say thank you so very much, John, for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invest it in yourself. And oftentimes, John, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You say some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, John, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, John, just recently I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree, you see. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did. And it wowed me, John, because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, John. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day.
Mm.
I was so excited, I tell you. Here's my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing John that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing. Your philosophies, your insight, the impact your work is having, and how you are offering your solutions, John. These stuffs are beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, John, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things John is doing. And not only me now, because I don't want to be selfish, including the audience. And here we are today with the amazing John. So I've got to say thank you so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thank you so much, my man.
Uh-huh. Well, thank you for the story about the mangoes because, the mangoes, one of my favorite fruits as well. And I lived in Hawaii for a long time. And just like you, there were mango trees. And when I would walk by during the season,
Mm,
there they were. And I was so happy
mm,
to eat good, fresh,
I
ripe.
tell you. Beautiful. I love that. I love that. You see, I love to know when people also like mangoes because nah. That's one of my favorite fruits as well. Thank you so very much, my man. So let's get started. You see, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today, John, for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, John, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge now, but the application of it. And you see, my man, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, have been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the incredible John on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, John, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, John, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So, for that reason, John, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how John got here. Then, afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, John, my man, over to you.
Okay, let's dive in. Uh, I was born in the South in America, which is not the most evolved part of the United States. And but I was lucky. I had really good parents. My mom was basically a saint. She was involved in the community and in the church, and she wanted everybody to be healthy and happy. And my father was a physician, and so from him, I learned how to be scientific and not just uh, believe things that were passed around as gossip, but to look deeply into how things worked. And between those two influences, my life started out good. But um, due to the fact that I was in this southern environment where, there were a lot of brutal people and not nice people, I didn't feel like a part of that community so much. I felt like something was missing in life. And so for some time in my late teens, I didn't really care if I lived or not. I just thought this earth is not a good place. And so maybe I should just party until I drop and then get out of here. And then uh, I made a discovery. I learned to meditate, and it opened my eyes to a whole new world that, of course, my mom knew about, but I hadn't discovered yet until I got quiet inside and connected with the universal spirit of love that is God, that is the universe, that is everything. And that changed how I approached life completely from dark to light. So at that point, I thought, I need to help people get healthy. I need to help people get clear and to live a better life because I've been blessed. And now I want to share the knowledge that I've learned. And I want people to be less stressed out and happy. And so, how can I do that? So, that was the beginning of my real mission on this planet.
Amazing. You see, what stood out is the fact that you decided you were going to share the knowledge that you got. And that's one of the traits of a true leader. They don't keep good things to themselves. They spread out solution to impact others. I love that about you. And you use a particular word, stress. So the first question is, how can folks get rid of stress? Is that possible?
Yes, there are several ways to get rid of stress. And I'll back up a little bit. We found scientifically in research and common sense that there are four things that everyone needs to do to be healthy and happy. They need to uh, they need to have proper nutrition, which means diet. If they're knowledgeable, they can take certain herbs that are very good for you. They need to do some exercise, which our ancestors did from work because they had to chop wood and carry water. So that's very important to move to keep life flowing in our bodies. And then the next two things are they need to get proper sleep because if you're not sleeping well, you're never going to be wealthy, healthy, happy. You're going to be completely stressed, which brings us to the last thing, which is we have to have ways to get rid of stress. So, um, as I said early in my life, I found meditation. Obviously, prayer is part of that, but meditation, where instead of asking God for things, we silent the mind and let God speak to us. Because there's an old joke and it says, make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Hmm.
And I took that to heart once I heard that. I realized that this wasn't just about what I wanted, but it's about what God or the universe or whatever word you want to use, which is always going to be inadequate because we have such limited vision here. But the universe itself, very expanded, it knows everything, it does everything, it takes care of everything. So, meditation for me is one of the prime ways to get rid of stress because when I no longer feel like I'm having to do everything and decide everything, and I just give it over to the universe and I try to listen to what the universe is saying. That helps me get rid of stress because it relieves me of a burden of responsibility. How could I ever know what was right in the universe or what was the best thing? So that realization helped me greatly. But the sleep angle also was very important because I realized if I was trying to do too much, staying up late, overthinking everything, and not just at nighttime shutting down and relaxing and let that information that comes through dreams pervade my awareness, that I would never be healthy and happy. I realized that just being quiet, not just during meditation, but also during sleep and letting the worries of the day fade away, I realized that that was the path to better happiness, health, and harmony in tune with the universe.
Wow. You see, this is a profound answer, and it is very, very insightful. Thank you for sharing that, John. So, what about this one? Mm, How much sleep do people really need?
That is a great question because it varies a lot. There are very few people, very few, who can get by with 4 or 5 hours of sleep. And then next, many people can survive with 4 or 5 hours for a few days, but they will definitely not be healthy and eventually it will kill them. And getting to the average, they find that people need 7 to 9 hours. And there are a few people that are outside of that range, but most people need 7 to 9 hours. And there's a test you can do to find out because you can't just go by what you think everybody needs. You need to uh, try sleeping 9 hours for several days. And if you're waking up very refreshed, then you can try, okay, I'll sleep 8 hours for several days and see if you wake up refreshed. And you need to do this for days, not just one day. You need to try this experiment for many days because you'll finally get to a point where the amount of sleep that you're getting is enough for you to wake up and feel great. But many people find out if they do this test that they were not getting enough sleep before. They'll find out, oh, I fell into that false belief system that I can get by with 7 hours of sleep and that I need to be out in the world, go, 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 make things happening. But they found when they slept 8 hours, they felt better. And there's a saying which is do less and accomplish more. It came from a wise person I'm familiar with. And he said that if we're stress free and if we're relaxed and we're clear, then we don't have to run and work and get stressed out to do more because the universe will naturally put us in the flow where everything is unfolding as it should be, and we will make clear decisions. And meditation and sleep are the two keys to that. So you might find that you're a person that needs to sleep 9 hours. If you're such a person, then you should sleep 9 hours and not feel pressure that you have to just get up after 7 hours and go, go, go. And I think for most people, they find out, even if they do take that necessary time to sleep, that they're so much more effective in their waking time, making better decisions, even decisions about like those other things, your nutrition and your exercise. If you're more clear, you will do those things in a more proper way. You won't be tempted to eat the bad food or to not take care of your body with exercise. And you'll find that your life is more efficient. And so, even if you have to have more hours to sleep, you'll be better off, and the rest of your life will not require as much time as you thought it did.
Wow. I got that. Beautiful. So we've talked about stress, and now sleep. So let's talk about exercises. Okay. So what kind of exercise is best for health?
Every culture in the world has evolved a type of exercise that works. And we're lucky because now that we, can gain knowledge from other parts of the world, we can learn how they approached exercise. And there's so many different forms. In the West, it was common to do calisthenics and weightlifting and go to the gym, and those things are good. It turns out that science has found that you need to do a certain amount of exercise where you're lifting heavy weights. So that's one of the Western approaches. The other Western approach is exercise where you're exercising the cardiovascular system in the lungs. And in that kind of exercise, instead of a short burst of strong weightlifting, you're spending 30 minutes or an hour running or swimming. Swimming is my particular exercise because it's so relaxing. But, there are various other kinds. Rowing is another cardiovascular exercise. But then when we look around the world, we find other cultures have done other things. In India, they do yoga, which is a very good kind of exercise because it stretches your muscles and it involves both the short term strong workout that you need, but it also has stretching, and then it has the long term calisthenics. And in China, they learned about Tai Chi and Kung Fu, which are exercises that use certain specific movements of the body. Like in Tai Chi, you're doing things like this, where you're taking the energy of the body and you're moving it around certain parts of the body in subtle ways that, in the West that we never realized. We tend to do more basic things. And I spent a good bit of time in Africa, and I saw there that they would run. And that is an amazing exercise because in Africa, we would be driving out in the middle of nowhere and we would see these people running, and there would be no village behind them, no village in front of them. And I would realize these people are running 30 miles. I mean, they're not just like an American getting on a track and running around. These people have made a full, almost like a meditation of running, where it's a spiritual journey for them. And I found that really fascinating. So, like I say, each of these cultures have found a different way to approach health and exercise. And now we're so lucky because we can see all around the world and we can find a different form that works for us, or even try all of them. And that's what I try to do. I try to do all of the forms.
Yeah, and that's the smart way to go about it. Got that. So let's talk about diet. Okay. So why is diet advice so complicated?
Yeah, it's very complicated because every person has different dietary needs. One thing I studied, and I really am grateful I did, in India, they have a science called Ayurveda, and it's a way to look at diet and nutrition and how your body works. And in Ayurveda, you will learn that because every person's body is very different, there are different rules for everybody. So it's not like one size fits all when you look at diet. So in Ayurveda, they say that everything in the world and every person and every activity has three different qualities. One quality is air, which is a light energy. Another quality is fire, which is a powerful burning energy. And the third quality is kapha, or earth and water. And kapha, earth and water, is a relaxed, slow energy. So when you find out the kind of constitution that you have as a person, you use diet and exercise to balance out your natural tendencies. So in other words, if you're a heavy person, like an earth and water person, you need to eat lighter food and fiery food. And if you're a light person, an air person, you need to eat the heavier foods and some of the fiery foods too. There's a joke that they say so you can learn how this works. The air person, their nature is if they're not in sync with the universe, their nature is worry. And so the air person saying is, I'm worried about being an air person. And so for them, they need to eat the calming, relaxing, unctuous foods that have oils and a little bit of fire, so they burn up things in their system. And the fire people say, I'm fire and I'm angry about it, because they have too much fire innately if their system is not working right. So uh, the air people can eat food and spices. The fire people can eat food but no spices. But the earth and water people, they're heavy. And if their body's not working right, then they're going to be sluggish and tired. And they can eat spices but no food. And that sounds like a joke, but it's really kind of true. You find if you start to learn about this science of self healing, Ayurveda, that the air and the earth and water people, when they tell you, oh, I can just look at food and gain weight, that's actually true. Like these earth and water people don't need the same number of calories. And in the West, we think, oh, everybody needs 2,000 calories, or if you exercise, maybe you need 3,000. But Ayurveda, for thousands of years, has learned that some people, just by nature of their constitution, they don't need as many calories. And so those earth and water people have to learn that. And it's hard for them because they think, oh, I need to eat dessert like everybody else, and I need to eat all this huge meal, but they will get fat. It will not work for them. So whereas the air people, they need a lot of food, a lot of spices. The fire people, they need a moderate amount of food, but no spices, because they generate heat automatically in the body. And those earth and water people, they have to just eat more spices so they can burn up the energy, but they don't need as much food. And it's an important thing to learn this, because you can't look at your neighbor and say, that's how he lives and that should work for me. You have to find out what works for you in terms of sleep, stress, eating, exercise. Is very individual.
Wow, that's profound. The four categories of people. Oh, and that sounds so new to me. Thank you so very much for sharing that, John. And I'll take that as a final thought. So, for folks who like to reach out to you, learn more about the beautiful stuff you're doing, or even ask you questions, how can that be possible?
Well, I tell you, because I was interested so much in sleep, I started learning about sleep and exploring the science of sleep. And one thing I came to realize was that our ancestors worked really hard because they had to chop wood and carry water. But today we don't get enough exercise, and we need that motion, because one of the reasons exercise is so valuable is because it moves our circulatory system, not just blood, but also the lymphatic system, which is the body system that effectively takes the garbage out of our system. And when I learned about this, I thought, well, I need to have motion during sleep, because if I get motion during sleep, my body will effectively be getting rid of those toxins, which our ancestors used exercise to do. So even though I want to exercise as much as I can, we don't have as much time as we would like to do this. So as a scientist and inventor, I invented a bed that rocks you during the night. It uses the same motion that every mother in history has used to rock their babies. It's that swinging pendulum motion, not like a waterbed, which will create anxiety at night, but a calming motion, which rocks you just like your mother did. And that motion, mothers didn't understand it, but now we know scientifically why that motion worked, because it helps your lymphatic system clear out the toxins of the daily stress and work. And when you sleep in this invention I made called the floating bed, which rocks you that certain way, you sleep deeper, more profoundly. You even have better dreams. It takes you back to that state when your mom rocked you in the womb or rocked you when you were born. So this bed is called the floating bed. You can find it online. If you go to floatingbed.com, you will see pictures of this bed. There's some on the wall behind me. I don't know if you can see them, but it's an amazing product. And the universe spoke to me, basically told me, you need to design this because people are stressed and tired. And if you can help them sleep better, it'll be a win for everyone. So that was my main mission in life once I understood the science and the reality behind needing to sleep more deeply.
Amazing. Well, you just keep spitting some facts that are really, really profound. And I never knew that waterbed causes anxiety. Well, that's a new thing I've learned today again. Beautiful. So that's going to be the end of the show, John. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing those wonderful stuffs with us. It means a whole lot, my man. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for your mission and keep doing it.
Awesome.